G'day. Welcome back to Griffith's Garden. Some of you would have figured out already where I'm headed by the thumbnail or the title of the video. So this one's been a long time coming, just about 3 months. Yeah, pretty close to 3 months. But now, finally, it's time. It's time to reap the rewards of some hard work. Those warm days, get everything ready. It's time to see if my preparation has been enough to be able to produce what I said I'd be able to produce. It's time to show you whether or not I can grow big juicy tomatoes here in Australia. So, let's go and have a look, shall we? But just make sure you stick around to the end, because I'm going to cut one open and you can see for yourself just how rewarding it can be till you grow your own backyard tomatoes. How different they are from what you'll find in a shop, how much better they are even from the ones that you get from the markets, how fresh. Obviously you can't taste them, but I think you'll get the message, so stick around. We'll do that at the end. But first, let's get some of these cherry / globe / grape tomatoes off the bushes. I've already sort of picked what's alongside of me here, and you probably won't be able to see that, but there's a couple of handfuls, good handfuls in there, so I'm just going to go through and strip all of these off, and then we'll move on to the ones that everyone really wants to see. So there we have it, the cherry tomatoes. Now, these are about as organic as you can get, so apart from a bit of dust and whatever. Absolutely brilliant. These yellow ones, slightly different consistency. Not as, if I said cherry tomatoes are pretty solid, are pretty firm, even at a very ripe stage. Excuse me. Very ripe stage. The yellow ones, I guess, are a little bit bigger, but they're not quite as solid, and certainly being yellow, they don't have as much acidity in them. So if you find that tomatoes are a little bit tangy, acidic, try growing yellow ones, because they're definitely different. It's probably half a bucket there. Truth be told, we've picked probably a full bucket of these already, but that's because these guys are ready earlier than bigger tomatoes. Always pruning, right? So we weren't going to leave them all just on the plants here whilst we waited for these ones over here. So it made sense just to go ahead and pick them, and so they don't go off, we don't waste them and all the rest of it, but that's what we've done. Not that they really go to waste, because anything that's gone too far, there's 7 little raptors around the corner there that, they absolutely devour tomatoes, along with strawberries, raspberries, all those small red things. Love them. All right, that's the cherry tomatoes. It is time. It is really time. Thankfully, because these weeds are getting out of control. You would have noticed, I'm sure. But again, there's a reason for that. That'll come up in about 3 months' time, thereabouts, when all this is done. Pumpkins are out and everything. Then we'll see what these weeds are all about. That's enough gibbering on, right? One more thing, let me get a bucket. All right, so now we have a bucket. Maybe a little optimistic, but maybe not. Let's go, shall we? Let's start right here. Now this guy, you'll notice he has got a bit of a split in the top. It's probably a little bit ripe, to be honest, this guy. These types of tomatoes are probably best picked when they have a nice solid blush on them like this. They ripen up easily on the table or wherever you choose to put them. So probably too ripe. Eating them at that stage is fine, but on the bush, picking them a little earlier is probably better. So now it's a matter of, as I just said, picking them a little bit earlier is better. So look at this guy here. I've been pointing this one out all along. It's got the funny bum on it. But, you know, take a slice of that. And, you know, I guess unless you have a massive piece of bread, it's going to cover the vast majority of it, isn't it? And this guy here has just enough colour on this one. See the pink? There. That's enough, more than enough, for it to ripen. No problem at all. On the bench. So, again, slice them. Put them on your toast. Yummo. Now, we had an early one in here that needed to come off the other day. So, there has been maybe this many picked already, actually, from along the bottom here, because there was just a handful, but we weren't ready to do all of this video. So, rather than try and piece together a few different days, I thought we'd just take some of the early ones off and do it like this. So I just want to check on this guy and then move along the row and see what we got at the end. Alright, so I guess I was a little optimistic. That's the hole. Some of those, you can just make out the blush on them, but fine with that. But what do we got? 3, 6, 9, 10. 10, and like I said, I think there's probably close to 5 inside already. So they are the Blue Mountain tomato. The San Mazzanos that are right behind me here. I'm going to leave those there for the moment, but I'm going to go through this row here. Yeah, this one. This is mostly Blue Mountains, and see what's in it, and I'll pick anything with colour in there as well. So we'll go and have a look at that. All right, now we're right in amongst it now. This is a row that I never really needed to walk down, so it's a little bit like the one next to it. It's just chock-a-block full of weeds because there was no foot traffic. The row on this side of me, I could get to from the other end where the capsicums are, and the stick tomatoes, well, I could get to those from where I was picking them before. So this row is a little bit wild, but I've noticed a couple, so I'll grab those and add them to the collection. hail damage. Remember the hailstorm? So that there, it was hit by a hailstone in its early days. So it's not destroyed, but it has obviously prompted the ripening to happen a bit earlier there, bruised I suppose. So nothing wrong with that. Worst case scenario, you know, maybe we just give it to the chickens. Nothing lost in the home garden. So the sun's a bit awkward at the moment, so apologies if it's, it's not quite working out very well. But quite an interesting observation between those that are growing on sticks and those through there where I picked that last one and the bushes. These ones here aren't necessarily any bigger, but they have ripened earlier, so the whole plant gets more sun. Over there you would have noticed it's quite the jungle to get in there, and in fact some of the leaves are showing, you know, signs of this sort of deterioration. More looks a bit like a mildew, but I'm not totally sure if it is or not. It may well be. So there's more of it over there where there's no, or nowhere near as much airflow as what there is here. So again, one of those things that not necessarily in organics, because there's organic fungal treatments or fungicides that can be applied, but you know, at home you don't tend to worry too much about it if they're not looking too terrible. You get what you can off it and you move on. Yeah, so they don't quite seem to have matured as early. They might be a couple of weeks later, but they're very, very good tomato. Very, because they're so protected. They're so uniform, and they're quite light. They're almost white when they're green, as they are now. These ones here are obviously green, but they look a little white. In there, they're almost growing in the dark, so they're very pale, but we actually think they're better fruit off of a bush than what they are off of a stick. I don't know, in terms of yield and all the rest of it, I haven't really done the testing, to be honest, but you know, again, the home garden, as long as you're getting nice juicy tomatoes, what can go wrong? It's hard to believe, I know, but walked straight past these things a few times. Got to pick these as well. The KY1. Look at that for a funny one. I dare say that one will definitely go to the chickens. There's a lot more than that in here though. So it's going to take me a little while to fossig around in here and come up with a few, but we'll start with an empty bucket and see what we end up with. And last but not least, definitely chicken feed. So, not bad. So there we have it. Minus one casualty from fell off the table, and well, I don't know if it's ripe enough for the chickens, but it's flat under my boot. So that's the haul from cherry tomatoes and the Blue Mountains. Now what you see here is what I picked the other day. These are the early Blue Mountains. So we're going to grab one of those as well to cut open. Well, actually we're going to cut that one open, because the other ones I don't really want to cut them yet because they're not quite ready for eating. And the other thing you'll see is this tub here full of cherry tomatoes, and yellow ones for that matter. That one's not. That's an early KY1. So you can see that how red these are, just ripening up on the bench. They started life like this. So they ripen up in no time whatsoever. Anyway, this is the big test, right? Don't need a serrated knife. You've got a sharp knife. You've got a nice tomato. Let me just bring you in a little bit further. That might be better. I haven't cut one open yet. None of these have been cut open. So after 3 months of waiting, almost, and a lot of weeds, lots of green fingers, and a lot of patience on your behalf, and thank you so much. We must be up to, this must be what, episode 9, something like that. In between all those videos was work that you didn't see, and that's a lot more maintenance than that one video that came out. No, there was one spray of eco oil just to try to get rid of any of those ladybugs or anything else that wants to get in there and suck stuff. But other than that, absolutely zero on there. So I started with good soil, put in some appropriate amendments, regular watering, and we touched on sunshine between the stick tomatoes and the bush tomatoes. Now we get to see how good I can grow, at least this year as well, juicy tomatoes here in Canberra. Doesn't get much better than that. Put that on your toast. Not a drop of juice coming out of it, but it is still juicy. It's just fleshy, super fleshy. Look at that. Fresh, sweet, juicy. Green hands probably don't help the flavour too much, but you know what? That's the worst thing that happens. You too can grow big, juicy tomatoes in Australia, or any area, country for that matter. Just follow along. Oh, excuse me. Follow along with what I did. There's nothing pretty about it. Weeds everywhere. But you can grow these. You pay a mozza for these in the supermarket, and they're nowhere near that good. So, thanks so much for watching. That's it from Griffith's Garden. And I think the end of the tomato videos. So, once again, that's it from Griffith's Garden for the juicy tomatoes. Bye for now.